Hi, everybody. Sorry for the technical issues, but here we are. Thank you for coming. Today, I'm going to show a technical overview of Morph L2. I was supposed to show how to deploy your first smart contract, but I'm going to skip that because I can't use my computer. So let's get started. So this is the agenda. We're going to see what is Morph, the technical side, our sequencer network, our batching and submission contract, our responsibility proof, how we combine the hybrid method between optimistic and CK, and the roadmap, how we're approaching to mainnet by the next few months. So yeah, let's get started. This is me. I'm Abril, developer relations at Morph. Previously, I was working as a solidity engineer in DeFi mostly, and now I'm working as a dev role, and I would say it's more fun. So, who in this room know about Morph? No one. Okay, this is good. So we have a lot to talk about. Just you. Okay. So first of all, we are Ethereum L2. That basically we combine optimistic CKVM, and a lot of people ask how that can happen and why we are approaching in that way. We're also a consumer-centric blockchain, so we know that there's a lot of infra projects, but not really consumer applications. So we really want to focus on bringing more consumer apps to on-chain. So that's why we are focusing on consumer applications. We actually have a track in this hackathon for consumer-centric applications. And we are also very collaborative. We have a very collaborative ecosystem. We are giving a lot of different initiatives for our long-term builders, especially in this stage because we are in testnet Holsky B2. We launch in January. And so, yeah, let's get started to review the technical overview. So we basically have the centralized sequencer network. We have a hybrid rollup, OP meets CK. We are approaching to have a fully CK rollup after mainnet. And we have a modular design. Let's talk about our decentralized sequencer network. So sequencers are responsible for producing new blocks in L2s, right? So imagine that a sequencer is a group of participants who have a special job, which is basically produce and confirm new blocks to send all of the transactions to the main L1, which in this case is Ethereum. Think of a block like a page in a ledger book for digital transactions, right? To join this group, participants need to basically put down some ETH as a kind of promise, and this is a chaos. So this is the whole diagram. So the participants need to basically put down some ETH, and this is done through our staking contract. Then they go through an election to become a sequencer, which we will open right now we are running 7 sequencers on testnet, but we will open for partners after mainnet, and they will need to go through this staking election process. It's basically, this is a way to make sure that only serious and committed participants get to do basically this job. Once they're part of the sequencer set, their main task is to take all of the transactions that haven't been confirmed and put them into blocks. Then they work together to check and agree that everything in those blocks is correct. Basically, they use a method called Tendermint, which you will see consensus Tendermint. And it's basically a way to agree. It's like a straightforward way for all the sequencers to make sure that they're all seeing the same transactions in the same order. I would say this helps the network be more secure and run more smoothly and fast. And also, after they agree on the transactions, these are officially recorded onto the main L1. This process helps the network basically handle all of the transactions in a fastest way. And this is the layer 2 blocks generation. So following the BFT consensus protocol, the selected sequencer extracts all of the transactions from the mempool and constructs the blocks and synchronize all of these blocks with other sequencers to go through the verification and voting. The end result is basically the generation of the new L2 blocks. Basically, this is the sequencer set, and this is basically blockchain networks to manage the transactions and to help process all of the transactions. This involves basically a technique called batching using something known as a batch submitter. So normally each block of transactions will be sent to the L1, and this can be, I would say, pretty slow and expensive. As we know, Ethereum is pretty expensive. So basically, to solve this, sequencers, those special participants that we talk about, use basically a strategy. They group several blocks of transactions together into what we call a batch. And so at certain points in time, these checkpoints, the sequencers take all of the blocks that they've gathered and sync them off together using a digital signatures, which is the BLES signature. This is a way to ensure that all of the transactions in the batch are valid and agreed upon. And so they use a specific, this signature can be also somehow expensive, but once the batch is signed, it's not sent to just any part of the blockchain. It goes to a special part of the main blockchain through something known as a roll-up smart contract. And so this is like a gatekeeper that checks, I would say, checks and processes these batches. And the job of the selected sequencer is to send three things to the layer 1 contract. The combined signature for the whole batch, like you can see here, and they pack all blocks between these two blocks with a signature into one batch and then submit it to the layer 1. When the layer 1 receives this, checks all of the submitter signature to make sure that it matches with the transactions. And by signing off on a batch of transactions and sending all of the transactions to the roll-up smart contract, this process ensures that the network is more efficient, scalable, and also it accommodates all of the transactions in a secure way because they're validating all of them into the layer 1. Now we will talk about, okay, how we actually are an optimistic and CK rollup, because everyone asked that, okay, why we aren't a fully CK rollup yet. So the process is basically based on the validators will need to constantly verify all of the transactions to basically new state sequencers submitted that have already submitted to the layer 1. Then, if they find the transactions and the states are not correct, they will initiate a challenge. Then, the sequencers need to answer the challenge by providing a CK proof and pass the verification process, basically. And if the sequencer can't really finish the verification process during a certain period of time, the fraud behavior is settled. So that's how we integrate the fraud proof. The validators, of course, will need to stake in order to initiate a challenge in this case. And this is, I would say, our main, because right now integrate a fully CK rollup can be pretty expensive. That's why we're integrating like hybrid method. And so we are expecting by mainnet, after mainnet, to integrate a fully CK rollup. We will have Morph staking. We will launch in mainnet, our token. We have also some updates by the end of the year, layer 3 support, and Alcan abstraction. And so right now, what we're looking for is to bring more apps, more consumer apps on chain in a way that I would say my main goal is to onboard more developers to build actual use cases, right? We are seeing a lot of investors putting a lot of money into infra, but not really into apps that, in a way, will bring the 1 billion users to crypto, right? And that's just something that we want to achieve, and we're just getting started. And yes, just go through our booth. We are giving 7K USD in prices for the consumer track, and innovation track we are giving 3K. You can build whatever is innovative and it can surprise us, can be AI on-chain apps, developer tooling, something that can help the network also be more scalable. We're looking to support all of our long-term builders. We are also giving grants for if you're building on testnet or even if you want to build on mainnet. So yeah, just come by, and I hope everything was clear here. And yeah, if you have any questions, please let us know. Here's our engineer that will also help with the questions. And yeah. Someone has any questions? No one has questions. Uh-huh. So we are going to, no, no problem. We're going to mainnet in mid-August. We're auditing smart contracts right now, so it can take a little bit of time. But yeah, we're going in mid-August, September. No more questions? No, okay. That's a good question. So we actually onboard a really cool consumer app called Lemon. They win our incubator program. They are building like an education on chain. You can get rewards to learn different programming languages. It's like a Duolingo on chain, but for learning different programming languages. And I think that's really, really cool. And that's the type of consumer app that we want to see on board, honestly. But also some use case that I'm really bullish on because I've been experiencing is basically on-chain payments. So if you want to build something around payments, stable coins on Morph, come hack with us. So